Hi everyone and welcome to Stamp with Angela. I'm Angela Palmer and today I'm going to be sharing a card with you. The card uses the Splendid Day Suite, which is in the July to December mini catalogue. So the July to December mini catalogue has got a lot of Christmas things in it, but not all of it is Christmas. So today's card is using a stamp and die set that uses a stamp set that's not Christmas and some other the ribbon that goes along with that as well. So thank you for coming and joining and watching today, whether you're watching live now, thank you, or whether you're watching the recording on Facebook or later on YouTube as a video. So I appreciate you taking the time today, and I hope my card creation inspires you and gives you some ideas with your crafting, and then you might be able to make something similar with what you've got as well. So when I first saw this particular suite, I was thinking, not sure if I want to get it or not. It was part of an online class that we did as demonstrators, and I used some of my other supplies and things, but actually I realized that it's a very cool suite, particularly the papers as well as the dies and things too. So I'll show you a couple of those things and then we'll get started and we'll make today's card. So in the mini catalogue on pages 64 and 65 is this amazing Splendid Day Suite. So lots of cool creations here, and then this is the actual stamp set and dies, the ribbon and papers. So here is the stamp set. So you've got some cool leave ones, you can leave outline or you can colour them in, and some other ones there, and there's lots of very cool dies that you can use as well. So some of them will cut out some of the stamp sets and things. So for example, that will cut out that, this will cut out this, and then there's extra shapes and things that you can use as well. So we're going to use this particular one today. So the papers are very cool. They're like a kind of foil with a white pattern on them. Probably a bit hard to see with the light, sorry. So these are 4 of the 6. So this one is quite cool. You can cut it in half. Well, it doesn't really go too well with the light, does it? And then you could get 3 nice cards this way. Turn it around and get 3 nice cards. Maybe add a, what do you call it? Sentiment and ribbon and that kind of thing. Very nice. And these ones as well. There are 2 other designs, but I've pretty much used those papers. So there's one here which is a fresh freesia, and then one which is a kind of soft seafoam kind of colouring. And then of course you've got the other side, which is not the foil at all, but just a more neutral sort of colouring, the greens or the calypso coral. Alright, part of that suite we've got the soft seafoam ribbon, which is very pretty, and these trinkets as well. I don't have any of those here at the moment. So you'll see, like with this design, they've used that kind of half circle with the stitched line around it too, which is quite cool, and they've used it in lots of different ways on these card samples. So always use your catalogue as inspiration, layouts, colours. Even if you don't have that particular set, you might think, oh, those colours look really nice, or what have I got to use, and do something similar. Alright, so back to today's card. So this is it here, and I've used soft seafoam as a base, and until recently I hadn't actually used this colour much at all, but because it was kind of part of the papers, I decided to get some, and I really like it. It looks quite nice with the fresh freesia as well, as you'll kind of see on other cards and things. Alright, so I've used a part of the foil paper. So it's this design here, and I sort of feel a bit bad covering it up, but I've used the green or the soft seafoam on that side. So all we're going to do is adhere that and off on an angle, which some people like doing and some people don't. So you could always lay it out differently. So this piece is, and this is the glue that's not going to work. Let's find another one. This is 8 centimeters by 12. Okay. Oh, this one's working excellent. So 8 centimeters by 12. And now we're going to create this background. Now I have used shimmery white because I'm going to use my water painters. So that is best for kind of when you're using water. So the water painters come in 3 sizes. Let's start that way. Large, medium, and then quite a fine one. So we're going to use our nice big one today. And I'm going to use the background. Now I could use soft seafoam, but I want it to stand out a bit more. So I'm actually going to use Pool Party and then Fresh Freesia. So we're going to use those together. And I'm just going to get a piece of scrap paper so I can clean my brushes and things too. So with these, I sometimes struggle, whoops, knocking the camera, sorry. Sometimes found it hard to get the water out, but if you look very carefully, I don't know if you can see in the camera, there's a, it says push. So if you squeeze exactly there, then the water will come out. All right, so let's go with the Pool Party. So what I do with my ink pads is I squeeze really hard and then it gets some on the lid. Oops, I don't want it on my thumb. And then I can squeeze a little bit, but not too much water. Let's do it on the side so that if, oops, there we go. I don't need to add too much. All right, and I'm just sort of gonna, no, we need a bit more color. Not much color at all. So let's squeeze again. I've probably got a bit too much water there. So we won't add any more water to that. So just a whitewash kind of background. Then I'm going to clean it. So I'm just going to get my scrap piece of paper and just see how it's clear now. So that's good. And then do the same, squeeze my ink pad. I find it easier with the new ones to turn it upside down to squeeze. There we go, lots of colour there. It's going to be quite dark, so we'll drop a little bit of water. Again, we'll do it in the corner. So find that push button. There we go. So we don't get too much. All right. Don't worry if it looks a bit messy in the middle because we're going to cover it up kind of thing. I've gone a little bit too far over, but that's all right. Okay, and then again I'll clean it on my scrap piece. You might need to just squeeze a bit of water out just to clean it off, and there you go. Right, let me just actually blend that in a bit. There we go, clean it again. All right, I am going to just heat that with my heat tool just to help it dry because it is still a bit wet. I'm just going to use the 1 setting, so it's just a low heat. And just dry. It won't take too long at all, but just so we can use it straight away, otherwise it'll feel a bit damp. So I've gone over there, but what we'll do is we'll make sure our ribbon's there so we don't kind of see that part. So generally I use the 2 setting for heat embossing and then the 1 setting for watercolouring, so it's not too bad. It does take a little while to heat up, so if I was to do more of these, it'd probably be quicker because it's already heated up, as it were. Okay, let's do our other bit of stamping as well. Sentiment. So I'm gonna, you could use whatever sentiment you like, but I'm gonna use one from the set. So Sending Hugs. So thank you for joining us today. Hi Joe and anyone else who's watching. Great to have you here. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this in the middle. Yep, I'm happy with that. And because I use shimmery white with this, I just used a small piece of shimmery white, so they're the same kind of colorings. And then I just, with my scissors, now I've made this one I think a little bit narrower because I felt maybe it was a little bit wide. So I'm just going to cut in the middle a little bit as far as I want to go, then from that corner to that point, that corner to that point, and then we get our little kind of banner shape. Cut in and cut, cut in and cut. There we go. All right, so that's that stamping, and if you want to, you could stamp on the inside. So while we've got our inks and things out, let's do that. So the stamp is here. I'm going to do it in this soft sea foam so it kind of matches with the cardstock. Beautiful. All right, now back to our card base. Let's put that inside so we don't forget, and we also can get it out the way. I like to use the liquid glue because I can position it, move it, that kind of thing, and it's quick. You don't have to put the tape down, take it off. But what do you like to use? Do you like to use the glue, or do you like tear and tape, or do you like seal? Interested to know. Okay, back to our card front. So we're going to put this on sort of at an angle as well. Now this piece was 7 centimeters by 11, and I made it 7 centimeters on purpose because if you've got a sheet of A4, you can get 3 strips of 7 down the middle. So it's just a bit more economical, and then it's 11, so you're only going to get 2 down and have a bit left over at the bottom. But that's okay. Now we can adhere it flat on, or you could add a bit of dimension, but we're going to add dimension later, so I'll just leave it and we'll glue it down. So even if you're watching this later, feel free to comment and let me know what you like, whether you like what adhesives you like to use. Now I did forget to stamp on some little bumblebee or bees, so that's there. So let's do that now. Probably should have done it before I glued it on, but that's okay. So if we kind of think that's going to go about there. Now these are pre-die cut. They are from the dies, so they're this one here, and I've just done that in soft sea foam as well. So I'm kind of going to have one down there and one up there. So I sort of want to see my bees. I haven't put the sticker on yet. Here's a quick tip for putting the sticker on. Different from the instructions, but we'll do it now, then I know which way is the right way up. So I peel it off and I put my sticker on my block. Then there is a line halfway through somewhere, but not sure which side. Peel off the top layer, there it is. Okay, so we can look at our stamp, so that kind of that way, and then that should fit it. Then you can line it up and stick it on, and then you can see where you're lining it up. Okay, so now we know which way our bee goes, so we'll put one down here. It's just very subtly. Okay, then we need to clean that before using a different colour, and then I will use my pool party because I use pool party ink up the top. So let's put one up there and maybe one up there as well. Okay, so you could either put this on and then tuck these in afterwards, or stick them on now. I might just put them on now. They're quite delicate and things, so I'm actually just going to use a glue dot to put them on with. So with my glue dots, I tie a piece of ribbon around it, and then I can just pull it back and find the next mini glue dot. I'll put that on about there. Whoops. No, it didn't actually pick it up. This time it has. So about there. So I'm not actually gluing the whole thing down. It's, you know, a bit loose, which kind of is quite nice. And another glue dot. Rather than take it off, I tend to try and put it directly onto what I am adhering, so that we're not handling it too much, because obviously the greases from your hand and stuff make it a little bit you know, less likely to stick. Now if you would prefer to glue it down more, you could get a silicone mat and some glue, and I think I've got another one pre-cut somewhere. Yes I do. And you could turn it over, get a dab of glue, and then kind of pat over it and then glue it down, and then the whole thing will be a bit more attached. Up to you how you want to do it. So now we need our ribbon. So that is the soft seafoam ribbon, which is really nice. So just kind of enough to, I don't actually measure it, but just kind of trial and error really. So one a bit poking out each side. And I'll use my ribbon scissors to cut that, because yeah, if I use my paper scissors for a ribbon, then it's not good for cutting ribbons. So I have a set that's just for ribbon. So I'm going to put, probably tape is better on the back for this. So let's grab some seal and put some on now. Whichever way you want to kind of face it. Kind of like, oh, I've done it upside down, so it's going the other way. That's fine, let's try it the other way around. Okay, so that bit's stuck, but not that one. So let's kind of put it down a bit lower, so hopefully it will. Okay, let's just adjust this a little bit. Or sort of cross it over a bit, I think. Maybe do it like that. Okay, let's see how we like that. Yeah, that's good. So it's going the other way, but that's okay. All right, now what I'll do is I'll put a few dimensionals on. So I don't know if you get your dimensionals and they're like this. Use them all up. So just go around the edges and kind of cut them. And then you can use these as well. So let's kind of put a couple across. So it's, is it 300 per pack or something? Can't quite remember, but you'll get more if you use up all these extra bits as well. Whoops. Nearly there. So hopefully you've, sorry, just trying to get this off, got a few tips and things. But if you want a nice, you know, background, fairly simple to do, try that water wash technique. There we go. So can you see something that this card's got but the new one hasn't yet? So that's a bit of bling. So you could, all sorts of things. But what I've chosen to use is just some ordinary pearls. And then I've got my blends, because these are permanent, and I have just coloured them to give me a colour that matches. So I'm using my dark. So it's best to colour on here because I'm going over the edge, which, you know, we don't want to show on our card. So colour them on here and then pick them up. And that, a little bit of bling just really adds to what we're creating. So I'll use my take your picture. Oh, that one fell on. I don't know, about there maybe. Actually, okay, it's staying there now. Maybe one over here this time. Maybe up there somewhere. All right, odd numbers are good. There you go. So there is a fairly simple card. So it's got the background created with ink from my stamp pad using a water painter. A little bit of stamping on it once it's dry. Do make sure it's dry, otherwise it will bleed. So heat it with your heat tool. A little bit of die cut on it, and then a ribbon. So I'm going to show you another card of the same design, but with a different stamp set and die set. So this, and it's in Pool Party. So originally when we did this class online, I didn't even have any soft seafoam cardstock, and I didn't have those dies, so I did something else. So I had Pool Party ribbon, so that worked well. And the background is actually is darker than this, as you can see. So it's actually coloured with blends. And I think at the time I didn't even have Fresh Freesia, so it might be Highland Heather, and then a blue in the background. So that's a slightly different look. And obviously the dies are a bit fuller, but it works well. And this is some in colour glimmer paper that was around last year that I still had. So you could use this design, change up the colours, change up the stamp set dies, but create something like this. So I hope that gives you some ideas and things. And I'll just show you another card that I made. Well, I taught it in a class. I taught it for our demonstrator team event that my team leader put on for her team and things. So I'll move these out the way. So it's a bit hard to show you on here because the way, so it stands up like this, and then it will fold flat. And the panel, so this is with the designer series paper, and this is the fresh cut flowers stamp and cut out with the dies that I shared last week. I did it with a different card, but this is a card that I've made, and then there's space at the back. Oh dear, I got ink on it, for your message and things. But it folds flat, or else it stands up nicely, just for something a little bit different. And then I also did kind of the opposite colours. So this is a soft seafoam base with the Fresh Freesia paper, and then this is the Fresh Freesia base with the soft seafoam designer series paper, and then that's watercoloured, which is like quite cool, and it's got the ribbon that we've used today too. So I've had 2 of my 3 classes for this month, and we've made these cards. I'm doing it one more time next week, so if you're local and you'd like to come, get in touch with me. Alright, so back to our original card. Here it is. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and hopefully you learnt some new tips and things. Helen, I see that you prefer glue. Yes, I do too. So yeah, you do get sticky fingers a little bit, but I do find it easier to use. Alright, so thank you so much for your time. I hope this has inspired you. If you make something similar, please share it with me. If you've got any questions, or you'd like to order anything, or you'd like a catalogue, please comment or message me and get in touch with me, and I'll be happy to help. Alright, thank you so much, and I'll see you again next week at 1:30 p.m. Thanks, have a good afternoon. Bye!